All right, here we go. Clone Wars breakdown. Jeff Lowe, KenJac, Robbie Fox, talking about the last episode of the second arc of this season, episode 8. 4 episodes left in Clone Wars season 7, the final season, a shortened season. Obviously, leading up to this arc has not been all what we kind of wanted to see, and I think we got a little more of that. But I think the best way to describe this episode of the Clone Wars, the Ahsoka arc leading into the Siege of Mandalore, some big stuff that might fucking happen here. The best way to describe this episode, I think, is good episode if it had been 2 weeks ago.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I was thinking. I was literally, as the Maul stuff was happening, which we'll get to the plot threads and everything like that, but as it was playing out on screen, I was thinking, I would have loved this last week. Like, if we just didn't go through the prison escape to get back to the prison, I think it would have been okay. The shortened season, as you mentioned, makes it a little harsher. It makes the salt in the wounds hurt a little more. But yeah, it was a fine episode. I just wish that it didn't take us 4 episodes in this arc to get to this point.
Yeah, I still think I wish that the season was a little bit, or at least this arc anyway, was like an episode or 2 shorter. But I do think that the way this episode wrapped up made me appreciate some of those episodes a little bit more, because the ending, I think, kind of had more implications that were rooted in those episodes that we thought could have been wiped out.
There's definitely a lot of importance, and we'll break it down now, kind of what happens. We start out, they're in prison again. I never want to see this fucking prison ever again in Star Wars.
I know.
Never. I never want to see him in a prison again, at least this prison. Trace and Rafa, again, they're also arguing again. We get them going back and forth, disagreeing on dumping of the spice, why they're there, if it's Ahsoka's fault, if it's Rafa's fault, if it's Trace's fault. And then Marg Krim comes and breaks it up. Marg Krim, Pike Syndicate, they need to interrogate them. They're still looking for that spice. Like, where the fuck is this spice? Like, we're not going to kill you at this point. You've pissed us off enough. Like, you're just going to be here. We're going to find this spice, and then we'll deal with you. And Ahsoka tells them before Marg Krim comes and gets them, like, just trust me here. You have to trust me no matter what I said. She lies about the spice, says it's off-world, and she finds a way and she finagles this whole plan where they're going to leave. Trace and Ralph are going to leave to get the spice and bring it back. And Ahsoka basically puts her life on the line. She's not too concerned, but she's like, look, I'll tell you everything about them. I'll expose them. She says, I'll tell you about their families, which doesn't matter because their families are dead. So Trace and Rafa kind of go, oh shit, okay, she's setting them up. And basically puts it in a spot where if they don't deliver, she's dead. Ahsoka's, they're going to at least try to kill Ahsoka. So she sets up a deal for them to go get the spice, puts her life on the line. They leave. And after they all walk away, they put Ahsoka back in prison. Trace and Rafa leave the planet. Marg Krim starts to allude to why he is so gung-ho on this damn spice. He says that this isn't good because he is being pressured, right? He is pressuring them. There's the pronoun game. Fife, his major domo's like, is it because of him? Is he the one pressuring you? And Mark Krim's like, yes, it's him.
Oh, shit. Who else could?
Yeah, it's like he's doing all this. And you're like, oh, I wonder who that is. It's fucking Darth Maul. Like, we all know it's Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Darth Maul is pressuring him. We think about the Shadow Collective and where the Pikes were earlier in Clone Wars seasons. The Pikes were a big part of what Darth Maul did and how he was able to take over Mandalore. So when they keep saying he, him, it's very clearly Darth Maul. They don't say it yet, but we know that's what it's going to be. We see the Mandalorians again. They're kind of watching over Ahsoka. They know that she is up to something. They're not quite sure, but they know that she's very valuable to them as an ally. And then Ahsoka manages to once again escape her cell.
Oh my God. This cell, the times we've been out of it, to be back in it, to be back out of it. I will say, when they were arguing in this episode and the sisters went back and forth and they were like, none of this was an issue before Ahsoka was here. Like, before she was here, we were fine. That's the one thing that I was like, all right, at least they excused it in the way that they were like, these two sisters were sisters, and then Ahsoka showed up, and then now they're arguing with each other. Like, I could understand how you'd be like, yeah, fuck that person. She's immediately causing us to, have some conflict between us. But I don't know. This was just, it felt like we were running in circles. The one thing from this episode that was a main takeaway was I was like, that interrogation room was awesome, the way it was designed. Yes. It kind of reminded me of like Mortal Kombat in some weird way. I don't know. But I don't know. I liked it. I liked it visually. I don't know if I liked it as an episode because, again, it felt like we were just going in circles.
I don't know why the Pikes didn't just send someone with Rafa and Trace to go get the spice. I was like, why not just send like 3-4 guards with them to go do it instead of having like this collateral in Ahsoka?
But this is my thing. They have a good plan, but they're like dumb characters. They're like kind of dumb. Like they play them off to be not very smart. And I know they live in a different part of Coruscant. They're in the underworld. It's not the same life that we always see in Star Wars, but they're just a little too stupid for my liking. Like I just wish they were a little more suave and slick, because they have those moments, but they're kind of dumbed down, like literally dumbed down at times.
I feel like they want their cake and they want to eat it too, where it's like, yes, they want to give them that underworld Coruscant life, but they're also at times going to show this like moments of brilliance that doesn't really make sense with the rest of their character. I agree with that. I didn't really like either of these characters.
Yeah, like, I think there's a potential to make cool characters like this to have like that Han Solo vibe, right? Like a lot of lying,
Totally.
a lot of stealing and trading spice, right? Like smuggling things.
Dash Rendar.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it without making them that like lackadaisical, that like kind of aloof and stupid at times.
I think that's kind of the idea, right? Is the fact that like, this is like the first time they're doing a real foray into being criminals, right? So they don't know what they're doing either. Like they're total new people to this, and the reason they're even in this situation is because they don't have parents, which is because of the Jedi. And that's all. This is all like it's all like
fair.
Circular, going back to the point. Like this is why common people dislike and distrust the Jedi, and I think like that's all connected. Like it's all with purpose. It's not they're dumb for no reason, you know?
Yeah. That's fair. I think, but then again, it comes back to that point. Like you could have had them progress into learning quicker and being smarter at an earlier stage in the arc, right? Or it doesn't last right up until the end. Like there probably could have been a way to do that and get that point across without it feeling like a drag. It was that last episode. That last episode, again, it's funny because it wasn't. I don't think it was a bad episode in terms of just like regular Clone Wars, maybe like 22 episode season. But for where that last episode fit in, you were like, whoa, this was a roundabout. Like nothing was achieved.
Completely. Especially when there were so many arcs that we saw that we know are unfinished, where the fans are going to be like, why didn't you do that arc? Why didn't you do that arc? Picking the one that was the slowest, that was going to take the most time and was going to be the most repetitive, was some move by them. But I mean, they wrapped it up as well as they could have. As a whole, the arc is fine. It's not, if this was on season 4, we would be like, all right, cool. That was an Ahsoka arc.
I agree.
I think maybe we're a little sick of it too, because the Bad Batch thing was all about busting someone out of prison too, more or less.
True.
Right? Like it's sort of like the same thing, and it's like a little bit of a different stylistic difference.
Right, now we're going to get kind of the main chunk of the story, I think that's been driving everything. So Trace and Rafa, they're off-world. They decide to go steal spice from the Pike, because they can do whatever they want at this point. They can just leave and never return. Ahsoka's assuming she's on her own. They're off-world, and they're going to go back and steal spice from the Pikes and resell to them. They basically bamboozle a couple aliens who work for the Pikes. We'll get to who those aliens are in a second. One of them, a really cool fucking Easter egg, has been referenced in a long time. They mess around with the aliens, kill one of them, and then they have new spice. In the meantime, Darth Maul finally revealed Ahsoka's spying on the Pikes. We see Darth Maul is behind all of this. He threatens to bring Crimson Dawn on the Pikes, which is a major reference. Crimson Dawn we first heard from Solo, so Crimson Dawn morphed out of the Shadow Collective into his own thing. Like it's really, this is Maul's thing, the Crimson Dawn. Like he controls this crime organization basically. So Maul again threatening them, telling them that like, look, you got to get your shit together. You don't want to mess with us. Like I'll take over and put this into my own hands. And then he ends the call, and as he does, and cool to kind of see Maul reintroduced as a hologram. That's how we first ever met Maul.
Totally.
Maul turns and he like sees Ahsoka. That's actually, it's a question we're gonna get to in a minute about holograms, what they can see. But he kind of sees Ahsoka. She hides. She's gonna try to make an escape here. She was learning more information. She's planting bombs, and as she does that, she's caught by the Pikes again. So Ahsoka is once again apprehended for what, the third time now. So she's brought in. At this point, the Pikes learn that she's a Jedi because in the fight while she's being apprehended, she kind of reveals she's a Jedi. She has a force push. Now they're sick of it. The Pikes are finally like, all right, we're done. You're dead. Like we are going to kill you because one, you're a Jedi.
Is this Arkham Asylum? What's going on at that prison?
And two, like no reason to keep you.
She's killed like no less than 50 Pikes at this point in this series.
Yeah.
So Ahsoka's about to be executed. The Pikes have had enough, but then Trace and Roth, of course, show up. They have the spice. They're like, we got it, don't worry. And that's where the Pikes are like, well, we don't give a shit anymore. Like, give us the spice, but your friend's a Jedi. We think you work for the Republic. They're like, what? You're a Jedi? We had no idea. So they kind of argue back and forth. Nothing too crazy. right? Like I think the sisters are kind of like, well, what the fuck? But like they're in the moment and they have to get out of there. And then Ahsoka's bombs that she planted go off. That's a distraction. Ahsoka able to escape. So they get off the landing platform this time, which is a start because remember they were pulled into the fucking tractor beams last time. They're being chased by Pike ships, and actually has a lot of vibes to A New Hope. We'll get to that in Easter eggs. They had a lot of things with this chase that reminded you of A New Hope. Ahsoka blows up a couple. Trace blows up one. Does a pretty cool maneuver, and they get off the planet. Finally, they're finally off this planet, no longer being entangled with the Pikes. This arc's coming to an end, and as they are, they're being chased down by Mandalorians. Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians are chasing them down. They follow them all the way to Coruscant. Ahsoka kind of has some words with the sisters and explains, like, look, like, I was a Jedi. And they're like, actually, we know you're a Jedi, but you're kind of what we want the Jedi to be, right? Like, you have that courage. You have that honesty. And so they're really on good terms as it ends because Bo-Katan comes in there. Ahsoka a little threatened. And Bo-Katan's like, look, Death Watch is over. There is no more Death Watch. We have a common enemy. We have Maul. We need your help. And they agree. And they go their separate ways. And Ahsoka kind of apologizes to Trace and Rob for like, look, like, I'll leave my bike here. Maybe I'll be back. But, you know, I'm a little concerned I may fall back into being a Jedi if I go with them. And she leaves. And that's kind of the end of the episode. She's with the Mandalorians now and going on to the Siege of Mandalore for the final arc in this last season. So a good ending and a very cool tease to know that we're about to get what I assume is some crazy shit, because most of the cool stuff we saw in the trailers was from this arc, was from these last 4 episodes. So
she's going to come back and find Trace and Rafa dead because they still didn't get any money to pay off the debts that they have.
Right. Yeah, they're going to be like, oh, fuck, we forgot to finish off those jobs.
I do think they ended it well, where it was like you started to get hyped up towards the Siege of Mandalore.
Oh, yeah.
When you know what's coming. My favorite line in the episode is when Maul is doing the hologram and Ahsoka goes, I wonder what Maul's going to do on Mandalore. Why is he going there? And it's just like, oh, shit, we know. She doesn't know. That's sort of the best stuff in the prequels. It's like when you know what's going to happen and you're watching the characters watch it play out. So I enjoyed that, and I am hyped up for the Siege of Mandalore. I think they are going to finish this arc strong.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to look back on these 4 episodes and go, like a couple cool character moments, Easter eggs, but kind of forgettable. Overall season enjoyable, because I think the last 4 are going to land really well. It's going to be really action-packed. It's going to progress very close to episode 3. We still haven't had that moment that overlaps with episode 3, but I assume we're about to overlap with the actual prequels.
Yeah.
And I think this is important too, just the arc, just because like we know that Ahsoka left the temple obviously in the last season of Clone Wars, and we did like she didn't know what she was going to do. She had no idea what she wanted to do. We did like, and I think that this season, or this arc rather, kind of shows like she kind of sees and understands why people distrust and don't like the Jedi, but then at the same time, like she sees in her heart what she wants to do is the same thing as like what the Jedi are designed to do. So like she doesn't actually want to leave the temple. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a really good like internal struggle that they're playing there. And it's also everything with Ahsoka at this point is making me more and more excited to see live action Rosario Dawson Ahsoka.
Yes.
Literally everything that happens with Ahsoka, I'm just thinking like, oh shit, that's gonna play into Rosario Dawson's character choice.
Yeah. Easter eggs. We saw a swoop bike in the background at one point. Love swoop bikes. I forgot we got him in Mandalorian. Swoop bikes have been in Star Wars forever, but I most know them from, I think most people do know them from Shadows of the Empire. Some awesome swoop bike scenes back in that game. Species, really cool species. A Tung, as they're called. These are the species working on the platforms when they stole the spice, and that is the same species as famous pod racer Ben Quadraneros.
Our
Quadranaros.
That stupid fucking idiot who doesn't know how to control his quad pod racer. It blows up on the track. He's one of the goofiest looking Star Wars characters of all time. Honestly, we just watched Phantom Menace. He looks terrible. He's a terrible looking alien. But
Easter Island head.
Yeah, but there's so much nostalgia now that you've accepted to love it because it's Ben Quadraneros. It's so
Quadraneros.
It's so funny. And it's cool. This is only the second time we've ever seen this character. We've never seen this character. We've seen posters of Ben Quadraneros, like pod racing, like fan art or whatever in the background, like cool nods. We've never seen this character except for in Phantom Menace. We've not seen it in a show, series, movie, or anything like that. So that was really cool. So we actually found this Easter egg after we recorded. This video is from 2018. Dave Filoni actually talking about putting Ben Quadraneros in the show. Take a listen.
Well, I'll put you on the spot right now.
All right, go.
Are you or are you not in favor of Ben Quadranaros being in the show?
Uh-oh.
Ben Quadranaros?
Ben Quadranaros.
No, I don't think there's a space for Ben Quadranaros in the show.
There you have it there. So anyone
Yeah,
that...
I don't think it should happen.
Okay, so
That's
there
just
it
me.
is.
It's just you want to leave the mystery where it is, you know.
The mystery.
Yeah.
Really.
You know,
He's a
the legend of Ben
The whole
Quadranaros.
rest of Phantom Menace.
That, look, that
not
could be
much
his
mystery.
one bad race. We don't know.
Trandoshan, the same species as BOSSK. We saw a ton of this character in Mandalorian. And actually, well,
And in Clone Wars too, they have like a whole episode where they all get
Yes.
hunted by Transdoshans. And poor Transdoshans, they can't get into honest work anywhere. Like all they have to do
No.
is like do bad stuff wherever they are.
often die too. Usually their
Yes.
work ends with death.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the job they're doing either. Like it's
That's
usually
really
like,
tough.
yeah, they're attacked somewhere. Yeah, it's this guy just falls off a forklift. I don't know why he was fighting. Why are you fighting on that thing? He had her on like, leave it on the ground. Like let's give up. Like let her go. Like it's not that big of a deal. We'll get to something cool with that character in a second. Crimson Dawn is referenced. Obviously, a lot of characters from Solo. That's where people most know Crimson Dawn from. Dryden Voss.
Just something that irks me all the time. They end that Solo movie with a pretty cool fight sequence with Paul Bettany, and he's got these blades. They have like, I don't know, plasma ends on them, like lightsaber type ends, it looks like. Very thin, tiny blades. How did they not have a moment in that fight where he cuts Han Solo on the chin? And boom, there's Han Solo's
gives him the
chin
scar.
Maybe that was
How
Solo
did they
too.
not do that?
Maybe that was saved for Solo too. Who knows?
That's one of the boxes that you check that's fun. That's like, oh, they did that
Maybe
in
that's
Young
a Solo
Indy.
2 one. Yeah.
That was a Young Indy thing. They showed how he got the scar.
That was
I don't know how
supposed
they
to be
didn't
the
do
Michael
that.
K. Williams character too. And then I think they redid it with Paul Bettany, right?
He was gonna be like kind of an alien too. He wasn't gonna be fully.
a cat-like alien or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I just see
You
cats
think
now.
cats?
In my head.
Yeah. The
I think
butthole
like
cut?
exactly like a fucking Khajiit or something from Skyrim.
So a lot of the characters from Solo were in the Crimson Dawn. Obviously, Darth Maul, we saw him. Dryden Voss, Paul Bettany, Kira Amelia Clarke, Tobias Beckett, Woody Harrelson. Also Crimson Dawn, one of our favorites, Dr. Cornelius Evazan, the pig-nose guy from A New
Yeah.
Hope, and makes an appearance in Rogue One, the I Don't Like You Either guy. He was part of Crimson Dawn. The TIE Fighter
R.I.P.
sequence, I mentioned, are very similar to the TIE Fighter sequence. The sequence where they leave and they're being chased by the Pikes. It looks like that TIE Fighter attack from A New Hope. They play a couple notes from the song Here They Come, which is a very famous, it's dun 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 dun, that one, which Family Guy Star Wars does a great job.
I was going to say, the Family Guy's the best, yeah.
Peter sings the actual song or he like hums it. So that was really cool. I got some chills during that. Whenever they play that, you get some chills. And then the last shot of the the shot of the Mandalorians going after Ahsoka has a lot of the same vibes to Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back. The same like shot of out the window, and you see the back of the Mandalorian's head, and they're going after the ship. So that looked a lot like that from Empire Strikes Back. Audience questions, 2 things. I got these from the Star Wars Reddit. User Comic Croc says, "How the fuck did Maul see Ahsoka?" I think pretty commonly accepted that hologram tech is just one of those suspension of disbelief things. Like there doesn't need to be rules with hologram tech, because remember the spider thing in Phantom Menace that walks around with the Emperor, and he can kind of see on both sides. You just assume the holograms are just a different thing in Star Wars.
It's like time, right? It's like, I don't know. It's however much the plot calls for it.
Parsecs, whatever. Like literally, like you have to do a lot of suspension of disbelief. And I think hologram tech is the one area where you can really dish out as much as you want because it's
Totally.
fucking made up.
Yeah, and like the crazier shit it is, the cooler it is. Like whatever, I like that.
Yeah.
And then
It
this
was a
one,
cool moment when he spotted her. It was like, oh, fuck.
yeah, I like that. I like that. Like I was like, oh, I didn't realize you could see that through holograms, but it makes sense because think about just like even the hologram like walks out into the picture. Darth Maul walks into the hologram in
Totally.
Phantom Menace. Like we've seen crazy hologram shit before. This user on Reddit, Silent Acoustic, actually brought up a cool moment here. They used a raptor sound effect from Jurassic Park for the Trandoshan character. He has like, you know when the raptors are kind of like making that calling noise? That sound effect is used for the Trandoshan in this episode.
Bro, how does someone watch that episode and immediately go, oh, Jurassic Park noise?
I think
That's
they did
so
that
crazy.
same one when they were doing the Most Dangerous Game episode in Clone Wars 2, because that's how the Transdoshans called each other in that episode.
Yeah,
So
there's
I think
also
that's the same noise.
Apparently, they used something else too from Jurassic Park recently, but they caught it. I went back and checked, and sure enough, it's the exact fucking noise, which is always cool. Always cool to keep it in that Lucas family there, with Jurassic Park, Steven Spielberg, all that shit. It's neat. They do it with Indiana Jones now and then. Don't they show the Ark of the Covenant? Don't they show that in some episode? It's like in the background somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Box.
3PO and R2 are famously in Raiders, obviously.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else? Final thoughts? We're finally on to the Siege of Mandalore. Look, I love watching Star Wars stuff, but I'll admit these were the most exciting things. This episode had a couple cooler moments. I think the Easter eggs have really kept me interested in these last couple, where I'm looking forward to the story more than anything for the next 4, because it's going to overlap with the movies. We're going to see some crazy shit. We're going to see Anakin. We're going to see Obi-Wan. It's going to be some big moments. It's going to be pretty neat. I think it's going to make up for any disappointment people have with these last 4.
Yeah, I'm putting this in the past. I'm excited for the next 4. I think they're going to close out strong. Like I said, I trust Dave Filoni with this more than anyone. So I'm very excited. I think the Siege of Mandalore will be sick.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I still think that like the episodes were important, but definitely could have been shortened. But obviously, Siege of Mandalore is, I think, the one thing we've all been waiting for. So this is gonna be like the big bust, Like we're all just been, getting blue balled this entire time. This is gonna be the bust.
Let us know in the comments below, whether you're on YouTube or our website. Do you think the next 4 episodes are going to be great? Like, are you excited for Siege of Mandalore? Like, what do you want to see? Let us know how it's going to overlap, you think. What's something from the beginning of Revenge of the Sith that you might want to see here? Or maybe even during the middle of it, because this is going to overlap with Order 66, apparently. So let us know. What do you want to see from these last 4 episodes? If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Like the video as well. It's a big help. Hit the bell icon so you know when more of these drop. We'll do another one Friday. I got 4 more of these left. Then no Star Wars again for a while. I think Mandalorian's gonna be coming out in the fall. So I don't think we're gonna be delayed too long without it. That's it for KenJac and Robbie. I'm Jeff Lowe. We'll talk to you next time.